Hey guys, and welcome back to Learn Faeria. Last week we looked at a red-yellow control deck that dealt damage through creature combat. This week we will look at Cappuccino's red control deck that he created for the first ladder season of Faeria. The ladder reset last week and the top players at the start from rank 10 and climb back up to god rank. I've seen a variety of decks on ladder including this red control deck. Unlike the previous control deck on Learn Faeria, this one is completely board focused. It packs a lot of cheap creatures that take early control of the Faeria pools, combined with a lot of damage based removal to keep the board in check. This deck is quite cheap to make with only 4 epics, 3 rares and 1 legendary. Newer players should be able to work towards creating this deck without too much trouble. Let's start by looking at the cards that influence your Faeria generation. Queen's Favourite keeps showing up in top constructed decks. The protection buff keeps him on board and demands 2 hits from your opponent's creatures or events. Durable, cheap Faeria gatherers are very powerful. Underground Brigand is a card I haven't seen much of in the past. He has an average stat line but has an in-combat effect of gaining 2 Faeria. The original list ran Farm Boy, but I didn't feel it was a good choice for the metagame I was playing in. I switched it up for Olga Barbarian for additional power on board. Bold Bargainer is a premium Faeria related card. When played, he reduces the cost of a card in your hand by 6. Between your Faeria Harvest and the Bargainer, this opens up a lot of cards to be comboed together, such as Firestorm and Garudan. Up next we have the standard removal cards. Firebomb is a flexible event card that does 4 damage to creatures or structures anywhere on the board. I haven't seen a lot of decks use many structures recently, but it's nice to have a long range option to take them out. BOM Selena is much like Firebomb, but with a creature that influences where you can deal the 4 damage. He has to be summoned on a mountain and line up with your target. This makes land placement an important thing to consider when wanting to set up future Bomb Slingers. LAUDA Tara is a creature-based removal card that uses a Death Touch mechanic to get rid of threats. He can be a nightmare for creatures with high health or deal with cards like Verduran Force from green. Now let's take a look at the area of effect removal cards. Groundshaker makes his return to another Learn Faeria deck. This is a great card to deal with low health Faeria gatherers or to help trade on the board. This can also synergize with your other removal cards to help finish off a target. Firestorm and Garudan deal 3 damage to all enemy creatures upon being played. These 2 cards combined deal 6 damage to your entire opponent's board and will either seal the game or allow you to make a comeback. Finally, the deck has some defensive cards to help deal with aggression. Devouring Plant is one of the best and cheapest structures for facing aggro decks. 5 health means that the aggressor will have to invest damage into clearing it. That damage is not going to your orb and will buy you time. It has the added bonus of dealing 2 damage to enemies surrounding it when you gain Faeria at the start of your turn. Olga Butler is your strongest line of defense with 7 health and taunt. It will take a lot to punch through that health stat and may demand hard removal like Last Nightmare. His good stats also allow him to be used aggressively if you need to push a strong body up the board. This deck is all about board control and using your removal and creatures to keep your opponent in check. Combinations of removal cards add up to a lot of single target and area of effect damage. Combining these cards can be costly on your Faeria, but the deck has been designed to avoid that problem. When placing land, adapt to your opponent's playstyle. Ideally you want to just harvest the Faeria pools and set up mountains along the sides of the board. Good mountain placement will allow Bomb Slinger to find good targets. Starve your opponent of resources by removing his creatures and controlling the Faeria pools. Once the board is under your control, you can start pushing damage on your opponent to find the win. So that's it for Learn Faeria's guide to red control. Be sure to check out playfaeria.com for more video guides and articles. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.